Welcome everybody to our coverage of the 2021 PDGA Amateur Disc Golf World Championships here in Orlando, Florida, powered by Dynamic Discs and Latitude 64. Today's coverage is brought to you by us here at BDub Pro. You're watching MA1 Feature Card Round 1 Front 9 coverage. Today's commentary will be provided by myself, Cameron Makiling, and my buddy Grant Zellner from the PDGA. But before we get started, let's head to these player profiles. Our first player profile today is Ryan Perkins from Jacksonville, Florida, the defending Florida State's champion.
Evan Scott Duncan, South Carolina, 16 years old and has a cannon.
Scott Watson from Pensacola, Florida.
And Robert Burridge, Houston, Texas, certainly used to the heat. And I'm talking about the heat of competition, the U.S. Amateur Champion.
Yes, sir. Quite an exciting feature card we have here at Hole 1 here at Lake Hiawatha, 268-foot par 3. This one is pretty straightforward. There was actually an ace hit on this hole to start their week by one of the MA1 guys.
Great opening hole from the standpoint of it lets you settle in. I like that. I like a hole that lets you settle in just a little bit before really throwing the gnarly stuff at you. We're going to see these guys hopefully get off to a good start.
Teeing off first is Ryan Perkins. Going a little high there. Not quite the start you want, but he'll be able to recover for a par pretty easily.
Evan Scott pulling the trigger. He really knows how to find lines, and he really knows how to execute. He's a young player that plays beyond his years.
Robert Burridge, the current U.S. Amateur Champion. This kid also has an absolute cannon. And might be a little short for him, but he's a pretty confident putter.
He's ancient compared to Evan. He's 4 years older.
yeah, that's true. He just turned 20 during the last month. He was sharing with us earlier today.
All right, Scott Watson stepping up.
Scott Watson living in Florida now, but he is actually from California, which is out my way on the West Coast. So it's kind of cool to have someone from closer to me on the card.
Mm-hmm. Confident throwing a slower disc there and puts it just about the circle's edge.
Nice touch, Ryan.
Nice little approach there from Ryan. A little low.
Robert really works on his putting. I saw him after the round continuing to just dial in that putt.
Oh, a little low and left. Maybe some first round jitters here.
Yeah, everybody feeling it just a little bit. You really want to get a hole like this when it's right in front of you like that. Even though it's the first hole, you know that if you don't get it, you're probably losing strokes to the field, or at least the important part of the field, the part of the field you feel like you're going to be in contention with. So these guys really wanting to get this hole.
Solid birdie there from Robert Burridge. Sorry, solid par there.
Yeah, these guys cleaning up pars, not thrilled about it. We've all seen holes where everybody's pretty happy with their pars. This definitely not one of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the course. Oh, there's a solid solo bird from Evan Scott to get his round started.
Mm-hmm.
And an unfortunate bogey there from Scott Watson. But yeah, kind of one where the course is almost giving you a free stroke to start off with, so it does kind of hurt to not get that first one. We're moving on to hole 2, 561-foot par 4. This one is long and pretty wooded. You also want to avoid going OB on the pavement path. That's the second path to the right over there.
Mm-hmm.
This one is like you're going to see a lot with this course, very low ceilings out here in Florida. The trees kind of grow up and it has that really cool Spanish moss hanging down. Very picturesque, but you really can't get any height on these discs.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. A low canopy comes into play on many holes here in Florida. That is for certain.
Oh, favorable kick in the end there, catching a couple trees and coming back out to the middle of the fairway.
These guys just trying to hit that gap and sort of take what they get in terms of attacking the next part of the problem to get up near the hole for birdie. So that gap is paramount here no matter what it takes, and so far we're 0 for 2.
I did like Ryan's backhand roller idea, though. I think if you hit that initial gap, that could carry pretty far, especially when you got to hit 561 feet with a very low ceiling. Robert maybe throwing it a little too low. He was a little caught up with staying away from the ceiling.
You know, these guys know what they're doing, and they know that on this particular hole, it's all about that first gap, and then you solve the problem. And so that little bit of pressure, knowing that, clearly in their minds.
Oh, and that turns over, and that sticks it right out of bounds.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that also about some of these courses in Florida. The way out of bounds comes into play in so many instances is off the ricochet. Mm-hmm. Because you're not necessarily airing out the shot for pure distance and risking, you know, getting it caught in the wind or something. What you're doing is you're trying to fire through a small gap. You're throwing a fast disc really hard.
Right.
And then you deal with the consequences if you bounce off a tree at the wrong angle.
That was a pretty solid forehand there from Ryan. Going to be outside of the second circle, though, so he's got a big bid left. Oh, right into some more trees.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can't say he was trying to do too much. He had a number of gaps there, but to play that angle into that green, he really had to go for something.
That is a great forehand play from Robert to save himself out there.
Little nerves, tournament starting, you know, just trying to settle in right now.
Yeah, I know if I was playing in as large of a tournament as this one, I would be definitely a little nervous. I think there's over 250 MA1 competitors alone and over 700 people here at the event in total. So a lot of pressure riding on this one.
Guys not necessarily wanting to get off to a fast start, just not wanting to get off to a slow start. They just want to feel comfortable. For some, they traveled a long way to get here. This is a heat and a humidity they're not used to. So definitely seeing them start to figure it out as this round goes along. Nice from Robert there. Just trying to get out of the hole, move on, and get locked in.
Second birdie there for Scott. Going to be hoping to rebound here as we move forward. Evan staying below par with a par.
Yeah, after 2 tree kicks, probably happy to escape with par there.
Yeah, par is not bad on this hole. That is a tough second hole. Tough one to kind of jump into after such a easy first hole, I think. Hole 3, this one's even bigger. 809-foot par 5. They really want you to wake up fast here at Lake Hiawatha. You got to get your arms and legs moving. This one you got to cover a lot of distance. You do have some nice open space on your second or third drive, but then you still have another drive or two left to even be in contention for a putt. All the way down here, tucked underneath the canopy. You can see it was raining a little bit on the day we did the flyover, so the day before the tournament, and it did hold up during this round, though.
Yeah, little rain showers to be expected from time to time during the day in this part of Florida in this time of year. All the players aware of that, prepared for it. It shouldn't be too much of an issue as long as we don't get lightning or severe winds.
That was a great forehand there. Another forehand play from Robert Burridge.
Kind of a placement shot. Nobody trying to bite off too much here, just trying to make it through that gap and, again, solve the next problem.
Yeah, you just want to make it out to the open on this one as much as you can.
Oh.
Early tree.
You don't want to create a new problem.
Opens the angle up a little bit better.
These guys are so good. They rarely make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, very good at correcting. These guys are all definitely on their way, or at least have dreams of making that move up to pro. I imagine if you podium here at AM Worlds, you're ready for the next step. So all of these guys probably have that in the back of their mind while they're competing here this week, knowing that if they do well here, it's time to make that big jump.
Yeah, most of these guys at this top level of MA1, the talent's there. It's it's a question of some of the other elements of their life, you know, their age and things lining up before they make that move. But the talent, as we're going to see all week long, no doubt, it's there.
Scott Watson's third throw manages to keep it low enough to just barely squeak at the trees, and some good ground play there to get him down towards the basket.
Notice here through, well, almost, we'll call it 2.5 holes, we've yet to see anyone try to go over the top. Why? Because it's just not an option.
Yeah, we do have a lot of trees in Oregon, but they don't grow like this, at least not in most places.
And it's not a height issue, it's more a canopy issue. You can't punch through and then, you know, take advantage of going over the top. There's nowhere to get through and get up into that atmosphere. So all these guys having to really be shot makers.
And that was a great shot from Evan. Smooth little layup there from Scott.
Yeah, not really trying to do too much.
Ooh, just over the top.
Well, you've got to have a lot of confidence in your turbo putt to go for one from that distance, and he clearly does.
Yeah, you will see him doing that a lot this round. He is pretty much exclusively a turbo putter. Even when he's jamming it in from 2 or 3 feet away, he'll still flip it over.
You know, that suggests to me a player that wants to keep the disc on a particular line as they see it. They don't want to take it off that line for any reason whatsoever, even if it means using an unorthodox style. And, you know, it's great that he recognizes that in his game and that he's decided to work on it and make it a part of his game.
Pair of birdies there for Evan and Robert, and a par for Scott. We are going to move right along to hole 4, a 289-foot par 3, shortening things back up again after making you throw 2 pretty daunting holes. This one, you do have pretty open fairway space, but again, low ceiling down there by the basket. And you do have a gap or two, a couple different options of gaps, but you do have some trees to look out for as you make your way to the basket.
Yeah, another one of those situations where the feeling that it's a must-get actually adds pressure to a hole that otherwise you might think is fairly easy, on the easier side of the 18, shall we say.
And that is smooth. Oh, yeah, look at that. Slides a little bit, but he's going to have a 20-footer. Nothing to worry about. And a great sweeping forehand from Robert Burridge.
Ground play, a big part of these guys' strategies getting around these courses. Unlike what we saw in East Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, where there was just very little skipping and ground play to be had, that grass so thick and grabby, and it's not the case here. Even when it's lush, this is a sort of a Bermuda. It's a tropical environment. It's the grass often has a little bit of a sheen to it. You know, a lot of moisture in it. The disc definitely going to skip, and the players having to take that into account.
Yeah, and another thing to think about when thinking about ground play is that there is not a lot of elevation change here in Florida like we were seeing in Tennessee at Masters Worlds. This is very flat out here. All of the courses are pretty similar. You might see at some of the other courses just a little bit, but you'll never have anything more than 15 to 20 feet at the absolute max
most,
out here.
No doubt about it.
Nice smooth backhand. Slides a little far, but easy putt. Going for a big turbo again. It's almost like throwing darts.
Again, something that that Ryan clearly feels comfortable in doing. And we'll see if he can dial it in just a little bit more as the round goes along.
Ooh. Rushes past the chains. Nice clean birdie there from Evan. Going to move him down to 3 under. Good start so far from the young man, 16 years old.
Yeah, and how have we gone 4 holes without bringing up Evan's shorts? His shorts game today is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, very stylish with the board shorts. Probably, honestly, the move. I know with how sweaty it gets here in Florida and how humid it is, I should definitely have brought more board shorts with me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The humidity is a factor that all of our players will have to take into account during the course of their round. And it can change, too. They're coming in and out of the woods. Some holes you feel a significant breeze coming from a particular direction. Other holes, the air just perfectly still.
Hole 5, 540-foot par 4. This one, there's a little bit of elevation change, but maybe 5 feet throughout the course of the hole.
That's a Florida mountain.
It is. It's a Florida mountain. I hear there's some mountainous parts of Florida up north, but down here in Orlando, this is about as high up as you get. 540 feet. This is a long play. You do want to try and crest that hill that's right about shoulder or eye height. And other than that, just got to keep it low enough to avoid this canopy, this tunnel, if you will.
Yeah, tunnel, great way to describe it. Look, if you notice down the fairway, not only the canopy talking about the leaves, look at the angles of the branches coming off of the trees, how they sort of arc over the fairway. Various types, a wide variety of trees here in Florida, wider than a lot of people might think. You've got palm-type trees, you've got tropical trees, and you've got, of course, Spanish moss everywhere.
Yeah, the Spanish moss is cool. It does remind me of like Savannah, Georgia, which I got to check out in between events here. Very similar. Another thing I really thought while I was out here is while it's way more humid, a lot of Florida reminds me of California, which is probably why Disney is in both places. It's a conspiracy. They only want to go to the warmest, nicest places, and I can see why.
Well, I mean, would you go to Disneyland if it was in, and with all due respect, Maine or somewhere like that? No, you might, but maybe only from like June to September.
And Ryan is scrambling here with a forehand roller, and if that stays clean, that is going a good chunk of distance there for him. Wow.
Shout out to our friends in Maine, by the way. Would love to go there someday.
Yeah, hopefully there's some big events out there in the next year or two we can.
Evan, fairly conservative off the tee, looking for a chance to snag a birdie on a fairly short par 4 here. Leaves himself about 25 feet or so.
Excellent upshot from Scott Watson. A little locked off behind this set of trees here. I think he's going to go for the gap. It's the only option. Oh, just a little high.
Good attempt there.
He's going to make one of these 35-footers with a turbo, and it's going to be awesome when he finally nails it. Oh, I spoke a little too soon.
Hard to get that much power on a turbo putt.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of shot that you can do in your backyard when you're having fun, and you'll nail a few, and you'll think, hey, I can do this. But when you can only, you just get the one stroke, the one opportunity.
Right.
And it changes on you every single hole exactly what that distance is. It's not like standing in one place and firing 5 or 6 in a row and dialing it in. So we'll definitely get to watch Ryan continue to figure that out in this environment. There he goes.
Excellent scramble for par there from Ryan with that really long forehand roller. And a birdie for Scott Watson, getting himself on the board and working his way back down to even par. That's got to feel good after a few holes. And we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Me and my brother and my dad were out there for hours just playing disc golf, having fun.
That's like one of the first things we usually say. It's a great family sport.
We got to do it as a family.
It builds relationship. Like, I know my dad so much better because of disc golf.
It's nice that that's something that we can connect and go do together.
My parents are 100% behind it. Bad rounds, good rounds, doesn't matter. They always have a smile on their face.
We don't call it sacrifice. We call it fun.
Get out there and have fun. At the end of the day, most important is have fun.
And we are back from commercial break at hole 6, 540-foot par 4. You can kind of pick your lane here. You can go with that forehand route over here to the left, or there is a hyzer option over there to the right. You can see me picking the forehand play here with the drone. Just seems a little more open for me. But as you can see here, both options are available. Again, low ceiling like every other hole we're going to see here at Lake Hiawatha. And other than that, just kind of a pump. You just want 2 solid drives.
Yeah, you're going to kind of take what you get after the first shot. So you're going for a particular position for the most part.
That is a crush from Evan Scott. Leading the card through the first 5 holes by 2 strokes. Robert Burridge looking to put a move on it and catch up here. He has the distance.
It's 3 drives in a row that have gone virtually their entire flight, if not their entire flight, without catching a single tree, and that's impressive enough.
And looks like we lost a little bit, but he's got a good lane right here. Puts him up perfectly for this forehand.
Overturns it just a scotch, so he's left with a pretty challenging putt for birdie. Not impossible, but certainly challenging.
Evan looking to make a play up to the basket and buy himself an easy bird here. This is a super gettable par 4 if you nail the drive like these guys all did.
Trying to hyzer around the outside there and then trust the ground play to slow him down. Skids by, but you know, if you don't skid by, you never get those throw-in field aces. So,
oh, that is tough. Scott was over there by the next basket that we'll be shooting back towards in just a moment. Nice smooth forehand from Robert. Going to put him almost in tap-in range there. Scott Watson's third throw. Just looking to get up and down. Great approach. Oh, a more conventional putt there. Didn't have the height for his turbo putt.
Oh, Evan. A little short.
Just about an inch too low. Great birdie from Robert Burridge. Going to cut that lead down to 1 stroke.
Right back to the turbo putt to save par for Ryan.
Par there for Evan as well. And a par for Scott. Solo birdie for Robert Burridge. Going to see him gain a stroke on the entire card there. And we're going to move on to hole 7. 492-foot par 4. This one is also gettable, but you can see here that the gap is a little, or the play is a little more technical. You have to get over to this gap here on the left and then kind of turn this corner back to the right to get to the basket. So if you can get to this landing zone here, you could have a nice easy look at a 3. But if you're not there by the first one, you've pretty much ruled a birdie out.
Yep, another placement shot. I noticed lots of situations where you're throwing a slower disc off the tee and then a faster disc for your second shot. Just an interesting way of forcing players to exercise some strategy in terms of how they play the entire hole.
Ooh, gets skinny.
No 2-meter rule here in Florida.
Yeah, we do have that out where we're from, so we were
Yeah.
we were wondering earlier today if that would be the case.
Some of these trees, not only can you get the disc caught in the canopy, we've had incidences of discs getting wedged in the trunk itself because of some of the unique types of foliage here in Central Florida.
Wow, great forehanded skip, and that's going to buy him a nice birdie putt there. That is just a laser.
Yeah, Robert, a really, really solid forehand game. Just a flick of the wrist, not a lot of wasted motion. whether he's going hard with a high-speed disc or whether he's just trying to place a putter near the hole. That action doesn't really change much.
Scrambling from a knee in the woods there. He is able to pitch out to the middle of the fairway. Got to get up and down here to save a par. Very precise with those long spin putts. Harder to get the height, I feel like, on those without risking running it really far. But he is on those approach style. There we go. First big birdie putt.
Get the monkey off my back.
First down.
Gets the monkey off his back, he says. And that's got to feel great. Finally nailing one of those big ones. First birdie of the round. Managing to hold par down and move to under par finally.
You know, and you have to point out, taking advantage of the fact that there's not a lot of wind, certainly not today, but also in these heavily wooded environments, not a lot of wind, allowing you to, say, turbo putt from a further distance in a way that you certainly couldn't in a lot of other situations. So taking advantage of the circumstances.
3 birdies and a par on that last hole, and we're going to move along to hole 8. 585-foot par 4. We have some open space.
Look
here.
at all that room.
All of this space. You can finally throw a disc up in the air if you want to. You do still have to get down to get to the basket. But on your drive, you do have a little more room to play with. And I know for myself, this would be probably my favorite hole on this course. Definitely the most room to just crush one out there, and Robert does.
Yeah, just so effortless. Probably really not going, 100%, because you just don't need to. So still a little bit of placement going on here, even though we're airing out, 425 plus foot drives. You're thinking placement. You're thinking about how you can get through the low ceiling here on your approach, and you don't want to put yourself into a bad position just because you wanted to throw the disc a few feet further.
Oh, wow. And that is a pump from Scott Watson. Farthest drive of the group. You can tell he was really excited to get out in the open for a throw there. He had all the room to play with, and he took the chance to show off.
Oh, no.
Ryan showing that he was probably a little further out than you might think from that angle, having to really give that shot a lot of effort.
Yep, he tickled the canopy there, but put himself down. Those bushes are inside the circle there, so he will have a putt a little kind of inside that bush, but maybe 22, 23 feet out. All of these guys just looking to put up in the circle. And at the risk of jinxing it, I think we might have our first star frame here.
Certainly
Scott gets up and down into the circle.
Certainly have a real opportunity for it.
Great, smooth. Just going to buy himself an easy birdie. And Ryan looking to get us started. There's one.
Excellent.
And that is actually a great time to use the turbo putt. Arguably the only reason I ever pull one out, but we're going to check that again here. Absolutely no room for a conventional style putt, but that doesn't matter. Ryan Perkins has been practicing these for his entire career. Yeah, tell
Get
that tree
off
what's
me.
up.
Get off me, Bush.
Great bird. Getting things started. Just need 3 more. Scott Watson going to move back down to even par.
Yeah, I got a white one and I got a all black one. I'll take the white one's easier for everybody to see. Yeah.
Robert Burridge makes it 3. And Evan Scott completes the star frame. Fantastic. Here we are at hole 9, 736-foot par 4. This is the last hole of our front 9 coverage, and this is the biggest hole we have seen so far. Oh no, we had an 800-foot par 5, but this is a tough par 4. This is definitely the hardest of the par 4s so far. I think just raw distance-wise, you have a lot of room to get, or a lot of distance to cover, and quite a few different gaps you need to hit on the way down.
Yeah, you really do. You've got a low ceiling right out of the gate right here. Then you've got a lot of room, and then you've got this sort of situation here where everything gets tight again, right about where your landing zone is. So sort of a really interesting situation that makes this whole play, I think, longer than even at 736 feet, just because of the way your landing zone is so sort of obstructed, and they're going to be forced to solve a new problem out there in the middle of the fairway that they can't necessarily plan for completely off of those tee shots.
Lots of room for a hyzer here. Keeps it low.
And there you go. Having to solve that problem, he had an angle that wasn't particularly easy, even with all of that room. Not a great angle to try to get close to the pin, and so forced him to try something that just didn't work out.
Ryan taking advantage of having some height to play with here, and he gets it all the way down, runs it past the basket. Two really good drives there from Ryan Perkins to get him down there.
Yeah, Evan as well with room to work with.
Could be outside the circle, but a makeable circle 2
Pin
putt.
high for sure.
What do you think he's listening to? I couldn't get a read on him. I can't figure out what kind of music
I'll
drives
ask
that
him.
kid's vibe.
I'll ask him. I like to ask.
Nice, smooth approach. Going to get him easy look. Ooh, great bid. Oh.
Look at all of these putts coming from outside the circle, just proving that at 736 feet, this hole is about more than distance. You know, if it was nothing but distance, you'd expect a lot of players to be able to put, you know, say 350 or so foot drives back to back and just get right on up there. But it's about more than that. These guys showing that these courses really do have a lot of challenges in store for our players, and they will throughout the week.
Oh, two tough putts there.
Yeah, Scott, not going to be happy with that effort. He was inside the circle, no wind, no elevation to speak of, and barely draws metal. He won't be happy with that effort. He'll want to get that back.
And taking a look at the scorecard from the front nine. You can see Evan Scott off to a hot start, 5 under through 9 holes. Robert Burridge just 1 stroke behind him. Coming in hot, looking to change things up here in the back 9. And then Ryan Perkins at -2 and Scott Watson at +1. Make sure to follow the PDGA at PDGA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you aren't already a member, head to PDGA.com and sign up for an official PDGA membership and join the party. Also, you can follow us on BDub Pro at BDub Pro at Facebook and Instagram. And while you're on our YouTube channel, hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching the Front 9 coverage here at Masters Worlds, everybody. We'll see you in the back.